Hare Krishna. So welcome you all for today's IYS session. So we have a very special speaker today, Her Grace Anuradha Mataji. So Mataji is associated with Iskcon for more than 2 decades. She is associated with Iskcon since 1998, and she is an IITian. She has been attending classes, uh, weekly classes by His Holiness Banuswami Maharaj. He is GBC, he is Iskcon Sannyasi, a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So he would visit IIT every week to give class, and Mataji has been listening his classes since more than 2 decades. So we are very fortunate to hear from her, and she is a very, very intellectual person and yet a very humble, submissive devotee. So it's very rare to see this combo of being materially very intelligent and yet, being a very submissive and down to earth. So Mataji is a very, very warm person. She has done her MS in electrical engineering from IIT, and she has been working as a she was working as a research associate in IIT for some time, and then she was working in engineering colleges as a professor, and simultaneously she used to take BPS classes. It's kids classes. So, and she has 2 wonderful Vaishnavis, her children, 2 girls. So Vaishnavi, she is now uh, was working as an IT professional in Cisco. And as I said, Mataji is an IITian. Her husband is also a very nice, great devotee, and he is also from IIT. So we can see their combination, and these 2 girls, lovely girls, Vaishnavi and Narayani. So Vaishnavi is working, and Narayani is still in school. She is in 9th grade, and they both are such sweet girls, devotee children. So we are very, very fortunate to have Mataji here amongst us, and she is taking daily Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam classes in Telugu, and also weekly classes in English, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam classes. So welcome Mataji for today's IYS class, and we are looking forward to hear from you.
Hare Krishna, Nitya. Thank you so much. I don't know, like this is the way, like, videos are not on. Then I feel I'll be telling about Brahma Vimohan Lila to Radha Krishna here, to Srimati Radharani here. Just seeing them and speaking about.
Have their videos on?
No, at least 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, very nice. Actually, you are all very fortunate because at a very young age, you are so much into this Krishna consciousness. Yes, Krishna. So, it's very nice that you all are meeting very regularly and you are under wonderful guidance of Her Grace Supiti Madhavi Mataji. Very nice that you all have these occasional sessions. Coming to the point, so today we'll be discussing about a very, very wonderful episode from Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Vimohana Lila. So as you all understand, I know you all would have heard about this pastime many times, but we would like to see the episode as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when you say vimohana, it is actually illusion, correct? Illusion. And here, who is put into illusion? It's the first living creature in this universe. He's the dearmost son of the Supreme Lord. He's the first universal. He is the first engineer of this universe, the four-headed Brahma. Such a big personality, the first being in this universe. He's being put into illusion. If you see the opening verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it comes as And very first verse, 1.1.1, it comes as Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Suraya. Okay. So this knowledge was first imparted to Lord Brahma. And the first verse actually talks about that supreme Brahman, Lord Krishna, like who can put into illusion Surayaha, all the gods, including Brahma, Indra, Lord Shiva. Everybody can be put into illusion. And in today's episode, you will see that even Lord Balrama was put into illusion by the Supreme Lord Krishna. Everybody can be put into illusion by the Supreme Lord Krishna. So the episode starts with, you all would have heard about the episode of Aghasura, correct? The Krishna killing Aghasura, who opened his mouth like a cave and he tried to swallow Krishna. So the Brahma Vimohan Lila actually starts with the killing of Aghasura, because when Aghasura demon was killed, Krishna was 5-year-old. But this news came to the Vrajvasis, or the boys gave this news to their parents only when after a year of killing Aghasura. So that's how Brahma Vimohan Lila starts. And then immediately Parikshit Maharaj asks. So you all know, right? This Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation between, the first set of conversation is, it is between the Sukadev Goswami and Saunakadi Rishis. And within them, again, the conversation is between Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So when Sukadev Goswami is explaining this wonderful episode of Aghasura, immediately Parikshit says, no, wait. You said it took 1 year for the boys to tell this episode in Vrindavan to their parents. What exactly happened in this 1 year? So this very question gives us a very wonderful teaching that when one is listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, one needs to be very attentive. One needs to be attentive, and with faith, when one listens to Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens is, that is given in 1.1.2. The second verse, the first canto, first chapter, it says, Tatshanat, immediately the Supreme Lord gets manifested in the heart of the listener. Whoever listens with faith and with rapt attention. So Parikshit practically did this. So, he wouldn't miss even one word of what Sukadev Goswami spoke. So immediately he said, no, wait, what exactly happened? And Sukadev Goswami appreciates this. He says, see, only devotees can do this. Hearing the pastimes again and again, as if they're newer and newer. Okay, Krishna's pastimes are so wonderful, so nectarian that each time you listen, it will only appear newer and newer. So Sukadev Goswami appreciates Parikshit Maharaj, and that's where the story begins. So it so happened that on the day Aghasura was killed, it was Lord Balram's appearance. So that particular day, Balram did not accompany Krishna and the other cowherd boys for the pasturing ground along with the cows. So in this episode, we see that Balram is not present. So when Aghasura was killed, okay, so many, all the demigods were celebrating it. They were glorifying Krishna's valor. And Lord Brahma, in his Brahmaloka, when he heard that everybody from all the 3 worlds were praising, so he became curious and he came out and asked him what exactly happened. Why is the celebration going on? Then they all glorified that, Krishna amazingly killed the vicious serpent, Aghasura. Then Brahma thought, oh, Krishna killed Aghasura. Then by the Lord's arrangement again, okay, Brahma thought, okay, Krishna is glorified so much, let me also show my power. So maybe the devatas will recognize my power also. Okay. So here is where we understand that even the great personalities can be put into illusion. If you see, Brahma came from where? From where did Brahma come? He came from the navel pit of the Advodaka Sai Vishnu. So he came from the lotus, right? Now, When you say he came from the lotus again is a material element. It is within the purview of the material universe. So Brahma was also put into the Maya Shakti of the Lord. So for a moment he thought, let me compete with the Lord. Okay, so this very behavior should be curbed. We see at the end what happened to Brahma. How Brahma overcame this particular Maya of Vishnu. So we'll be seeing that. So immediately when Brahma thought, let me test Krishna. Okay, instead of applauding along with others, the Supreme Lord, Brahma thought, let me test Krishna. So the moment Krishna thought, I'll give you an interesting feature that happened here. See, everything happens only according to the will and wish of the Lord. Correct? So when Brahma had this particular idea of competing with the Lord, approving his prowess, or testing Lord Krishna, immediately Krishna's Lila Shakti spoke to Krishna. My Lord, what is this? Brahma wants to test you. When Krishna makes all the arrangement, Krishna says, okay, this is what you need to do. So they both have some arrangement to bewilder Brahma. Brahma is already, the bewilderment of Brahma is already started because he already wanted to test Krishna. It started with that. So when Krishna was having his lunch with his friends in his pasturing grounds, so they observed that the calves, seeing the calves suddenly became greedy over the green grass and they started moving away from these cowherd boys. Okay, and suddenly these cowherd boys realized that, okay, these cowherd boys, they were all having a lot of fun with Krishna. They were having lunch. They were giving their lunch boxes to Krishna. They were exchanging. And that is the time when Brahma comes. Now, when Brahma comes, not everybody can see Brahma because Brahma's body is not made up of gross elements like our body. His body is so subtle. Actually, his form is made purely of intelligence and nothing else. See, our body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, man, buddhi, ahankara. We have the subtle body, we have the gross body. Correct? So Brahma's body is not like that. It's totally subtle. And only the subtle element intelligence is present in Brahma's body. So Sukshma Sarira has that. No, of course, he has, within that Sukshma Sarira, he has 4 heads. He comes on the swan career, he sits on the lotus, all that is there. But his body is made up of only intelligence. Okay. So when Brahma comes there, what exactly is happening? Krishna and the cowherd boys are exchanging their lunch boxes. Everybody is trying to feed Krishna. One particular boy is saying, Krishna, see, this is your favorite buttermilk. Then Krishna says, yeah, you give it to me. Immediately the boy drinks fully and he keeps in his cheeks. And he says, no, Krishna, I had everything. He's just making the sign. Then Krishna immediately punches his cheeks. Buttermilk comes out. And Krishna drinks that. Now, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes beautifully about this episode. And Brahma is totally shocked. What exactly is happening here? I thought Krishna was the Lord. I wanted to test him. But he doesn't even seem to be the Supreme Lord. Because my Supreme Lord is Vishnu, who is very grave. And he's praised by in a very grave manner. That is a Vaikuntha appearance. In Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu is prayed with Vedic hymns. Correct? Only things which are offered in yajna can be, which are worth offering in an yajna can be offered to Lord Krishna. And here Brahma is saying that, Krishna is just having the remnants of others, his friends. So Brahma thought, no, this is high time I really test this guy, Krishna, whom everybody is thinking that he's the Supreme Lord. So he couldn't really digest this friendly mood of Krishna and the gopas. So, and this is happening, and here the cows actually, in greed of this green grass, they move far away from this. It's not the cows, it's actually the calves. Because all these cowherd boys are actually in charge of the calves. They were all 5-year-old when this particular event happened. So they were in charge of the calves. And suddenly they realized that these calves were missing from their sight. Immediately they say, Krishna, the calves have gone somewhere. Let's all just go and search for that. And Krishna says, no, 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 don't get disturbed. You all continue the mood. I will go and personally bring the cows. Okay, so here again we see that when the devotee is completely engaged in pleasing the Lord, okay, the calves, actually the go, the Sanskrit word for the cows or calves is go. And the other meaning for go are the senses. When the senses get distracted, the Lord personally goes and protects. He brings back the senses back into the service of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna said, no, no, you all continue. I will go and take care of the cows. So when Krishna leaves that place, this is the time Brahma was looking for. So when Krishna goes there, actually before Krishna reaches the calves, Brahma steals the calves. And when Krishna is searching for the calves, he's away from the gopas, right? The cowherd boys. So that time Brahma actually steals the gopas. And here one more wonderful thing happens is, all these cowherd boys, they're all very great spiritual personalities, and they're much more greater than Brahma. Correct? Brahma is the supervisor or the in charge of this particular universe, whereas the gopas are great spiritual personalities. They cannot really be stolen by Brahma. Just like Ravana could not touch Mother Sita, he only took Maya Sita. Just like that, if you remember, I told you that when Brahma had this idea of testing Krishna, the Lila Shakti of Krishna and Brahma were in discussion. So that was Krishna's plan. So Krishna immediately gave a plan to Lila Shakti of the Lord. And the Lila Shakti immediately created, they are called Maya Ardhakas. They are Maya, they're not the actual gopas whom Lord Brahma stole. So it was Lila Shakti who actually hit the actual calves and the cowherd boys. And it was actually the Maya, the duplicate, replicas of the actual spiritual personalities that Brahma actually stole. And everything, just like the player knows everything and he just plays as per the plan of the director, Krishna also thought, oh, there are no calves here. Okay, let me see what exactly happened. And he just came back and he saw that the boys were also missing. So immediately Krishna understood. In fact, it was the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So he thought, okay, Brahma wants to play a game with me. He wants to test me. So let me satisfy Brahma. So he immediately, what Krishna does is, he expands himself into the same personalities, the exact number of gopas, the exact number of calves. By then, actually, Brahma stole this Maya calves and Maya cowherd boys, and he left to his loka. He hid them in a cave, okay, so that nobody could see. Okay, and he left for a moment actually. So here by then, Krishna immediately expanded himself into all the forms exactly as they were. The exact number, the exact features. So sometimes we see, you have seen twins, they resemble so much. But if you closely observe or if you everyday observe, you'll be able to see some difference or the other. Correct? Or the parents will be able to identify this is X and this is Y. They will be able to distinguish. But here, when Krishna expanded and took the forms of the calves or the cowherd boys, none of the Vrajvasis could really identify. It was with the exact features, and exact size, exact color, exact dress, exact mannerisms, everything he expanded himself into. And actually, this offense of Brahma, Acharyas explained that it was more offensive than Indra's. You all know the pastime of Krishna lifting Govardhan hill during this Indra Puja. Krishna blocks Indra Puja and Indra becomes wild. He showers rain. In fact, Indra tried to kill Rajvasis. He sent the Samvataka clouds and all. You all know that episode, right? But then later Indra realizes and he takes the help of Surabhi cow and he goes and apologizes and he offers wonderful prayers to Krishna. But here, if you compare the offense of Krishna and Brahma, because of Indra's pride or this Govardhan Lila, 7 days and 7 nights, Krishna was in continuous association of the Vrajavasis. The Vrajavasis were constantly enjoying the company of Krishna. But here, in case of Brahma vimohana Lila, what happened? Brahma actually stole Krishna's associates, and this really, Krishna was really upset with Brahma. Okay, that is why later we see that Brahma had to really apologize so much to pacify Krishna. Krishna was really upset with Brahma. Okay, so now here what happens? So Krishna just entered Vraja as if nothing happened. So he entered with whom? With himself, but in the form of all the friends and the cows. Now every day the pastime would be all the Vrajavasis, when they are when Krishna, Balram and cowherd boys are leaving, they all would come and see. They would give a farewell to Krishna and the other boys. Till their vision could permit, they would see Krishna, and then till evening they would all wait eagerly when Krishna is again going to return. That was the daily move. And today, when Krishna returned with all the cowherd boys and calves who were he himself, okay. So when all these the other mothers and all were waiting, then they saw that their children looked especially beautiful, especially attractive that particular day. Okay, they all just came running, they hugged their children and they took them home. And this happened for 1 full year. Okay, and in this full year, what was happening? Usually every mother will feel his child to be special. Even if the other child has got better qualities or whatever it is, even if the other child is greater than her own child, the natural instinct is that the mother loves her own child. But here in this 1 year, what was happening is everybody started loving their children to the peak and also started loving the other's children also to the peak. Because what was happening everywhere? It was Krishna who was present there. And why this particular event also happened? When Krishna was, all the earlier, before this event happened, the mothers of Vrindavan, they always used to glorify Mother Yashoda, and they always used to glorify the position of Mother Yashoda. And they all were wishing, if Krishna was my son, then I can also take care of Krishna, like how Mother Yashoda is giving him special blessing, always thinking the pastimes of the Lord. So since all these mothers had a genuine desire to have Krishna as their son, okay, Krishna made this particular arrangement in this Brahma vimohana Lila. So all these mothers were giving, but pouring so much infinite love towards their children. And who was their children? It was Lord Krishna himself. And Krishna was enjoying that. He was enjoying, it is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam that actually later Brahmadev, when he does the prayer, he says, my Lord, more than the glorification of the Vedas, I'm sure you have enjoyed this part as the best. Enjoying the motherhood of all the Vrajavasis. Okay. If you even take the Vatsalya Bhav, you all know about the different rasas, right? A devotee can have with the Lord. There are 5 primary rasas. The Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. So if you take the Vatsalya ras, Mother Yashoda comes in the topmost position. Number 1 in Vatsalya is Yashoda. Number 2 comes Nanda Baba. Number 3 comes Balram. Balram was also in, of course, Balram served Krishna in all the 5 rasas. So he is there in the Vatsalya rasa also. He was always thinking, how do I protect my younger brother from these demons? He was always behind Krishna, taking care of Krishna. And next to Balram comes Rohini, mother of Balram. In the Vatsalya ras with Krishna I'm talking. And next comes all the cowherd boy mothers, the other mothers. So they all come, and then only come Devaki, Vasudeva, Kunti, Sandipani Muni, and other wives of Vasudeva, they all come after that. So in Vatsalya, if you take the cowherd women, the mothers of other Gopas, they all also precede Devaki and Vasudeva also. Okay, so they were in such Vatsalya Bhav with the Supreme Lord. And here in this particular episode, we can see that the Vatsalya, the love they exhibited towards Krishna. And as I mentioned, on day one, Balram was not present. And this happened for a year. And just a week before this happened, okay, Balram, once, when he goes to the pasturing grounds with Krishna, and he goes, just 1 second. Sorry. So when Balram goes, suddenly what happens is, Balram is also observing there is some unusual thing that is happening in Vraja. Okay, so on that particular day when Balram and Krishna were looking at the calves, the other cowherd men also go with them. And they, cowherd men are actually taking care of the elder cows. Okay, and Krishna and Balram and the cowherd boys are actually taking care of the calves. Here again, we need to remember that these cowherd boys are also again Krishna, correct? So now Balram observes that these cowherd men and the cows, when they saw these calves from the top of the hill, they couldn't hold anymore. Okay, so they simply ran from top of the hill to the ground. There were so many bushes in between, but they just ignored all that and they just jumped and crossed the turtles. And they came running and gave milk to this calves. Actually, many of the cows had newborn babies also. The cows usually give milk to the newborns. Once they start eating the grass and all, okay, the cows usually focus more on the newborn babies only. But here, they started giving milk even to the grass-eating calves. And suddenly the cowherd men realized, what is this happening? This has never happened before. So they were in anger. They were not able to control these cows. So they were in anger, and so they also ran immediately after this cows to hold them. But when they came down, they were in anger controlling them. But when they came down, they saw all their own sons. Their own sons means Krishna in the form of their sons. And immediately they forgot their anger, and seeing their sons, they went and hugged them. So much love they poured. They started kissing on the forehead. They started smelling them. All these are signs of affection, right? So they started feeling all that. So then Balram couldn't stand anymore. So Balram said, Krishna, there is some Maya that is going on. And immediately the shloka comes very beautifully there. Balram says, it cannot be any other Maya. It cannot be some Rakshasa Maya or anything. Because no Maya can bewilder me. And if I am bewildered, if I am not able to understand, then surely this Maya is yours. Okay, only your Maya can bewilder me. So here we see that Balram, who is the immediate expansion of Krishna, he also was put into the illusion. But he was the first one to come out of this illusion. So here we see that actually Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says why Balram was not informed about this is Krishna was thinking Balram and Krishna, they were all missing their friends. So, Sudama, Sridama, Subala. So Krishna didn't want to disappoint Balram. So Balram is still under the illusion that he's playing with all these friends. But then when Balram identified, Balram said, Krishna, something is happening. Now you will have to tell me. You can't escape anymore. Then Krishna says, okay, see, this is what happened. Brahma wanted to play this. He wanted to test. So this is what I have done. Okay. So Balram just gives a wonderful smile. Balram only pities Brahma. Oh, how could Brahma become so foolish to test the Supreme Lord? And then all of them return. Okay. So in the meantime, what happens is Brahma's one moment is over. So Brahma just wants to see, he's very anxious again because he has done some mischief. But somewhere deep in the heart, he's also scared. Am I playing with the Supreme Lord? Okay, so he just wants to know, okay, I've done something wrong. Sometimes the children do. They do some mischief, and again, it's very easy to catch hold of small children. You can see the twinkle in their eyes itself. They will, by mistake, they let out that they have done a mistake. So Brahma was also like that. He was thinking, maybe I've done a mistake. So let me just go and check what exactly happened. So when Brahma comes, so by the time Brahma comes, actually 1 year would have passed. And again, it is again Balram Jayanti. So again, on this particular day also, again, Balram is back in Braja. So Balram is not present here when Brahma comes back. Okay, so when Brahma comes back, he says that he's very shocked because nothing seems to be missing there. Everything is going on as such. Everybody is sharing their lunch. Krishna is playing with them, taking all the offerings from the gopas. So Brahma is shocked. What exactly has happened? So immediately he thinks, I have stolen all these people. So let me just go and check. So he just goes and check, and there one set of calves and gopas are already there. Again, he comes back. He's actually seriously bewildered. He wanted to mystify Krishna. He himself is mystified actually. So he says he's now not able to find out which is the real set. Whether this is the real set, or if when he has seen Krishna has brought, is totally bewildered. He with his four heads is trying to see everywhere what exactly has happened. Okay, then immediately when Brahma realizes, my God, I've done a seriously grave mistake. And then Brahma offers, so like he's feeling so ashamed. Being in such a position, I couldn't identify my master. So immediately with a lot of tears in his eyes, he just comes and falls at the feet of Krishna. This exactly happens when Krishna goes in search of the calves. You're able to relate? Krishna goes in search of the calves is the first day of this Brahma vimohana Lila. So when Krishna is away from the gopas as well as the calves, that is the time Lord Brahma comes and falls at the feet of Krishna. It is written very beautifully. Sukadev Goswami explains very beautifully. It's like a golden rod that falls. We call it Dandavat, right? Just like a stick falls. Lord Brahma fell at Krishna's feet with full tears in his eyes. And he makes a special arrangement to see that all the four heads touch simultaneously the feet of Krishna. And he offers wonderful prayers. Okay. So I actually wanted to do the prayers also, but so wonderful prayers. Maybe I'll try to read the prayers as such. Few prayers there. The whole chapter is there. Chapter 14 is totally about the prayers of Brahma. Okay, we can read few prayers from there. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so when Brahma actually comes here and apologizes, that is when he sees that all the gopas and the calves are none other than the expansions of Vishnu. Yeah, when he comes and sings, when he's bewildered, so he says that Krishna shows his original form. So many Vishnus are, he says, Brahma says, and all the Vishnu forms are exactly like the original Vishnu whom Brahma has been worshipping. So it is not like they're all the inhabitants of Vaikuntha. See, in Vaikuntha, we see that everybody has the form of Vishnu. But how do we distinguish between the other Vaikuntha Vasis and Vishnu? Vishnu has a special form called Srivatsa Chihna. The Srivatsa mark and the Kaustubha only the Lord has. Okay, so now when Brahma is seeing this number of Vishnus, each Vishnu, Brahma is not able to identify also who is the original Vishnu. So that is actually, Brahma is now not seeing the Krishna's Maya, he is seeing the Krishna's opulence as Vasudeva, where the Lord can pervade fully everywhere. Okay, he has expanded. It is called Swarupa. So the original Vishnu, so many Vishnus are there. you're able to get, it's not that one Vishnu, the Amsa has come, a part of Vishnu has come and become. It is the original Vishnu is present everywhere. Krishna exhibits this opulence with the queens of Dwaraka also. So if you say that 16,108 queens, all the queens were feeling that Krishna was with them. So it was the original, original Krishna with full opulences that he was present in all the 16,108 palaces. So likewise here, the original Vishnu was present in the form of all the Gopas and the calves. So now Brahma is in tears and he offers this beautiful prayer. So maybe we'll read 2 or 3 prayers. You can say 10, 14, 8. Okay, very wonderful prayer. Brahma says, Tattenukampam susamikshmanu bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hritvagvapurбhir vidadhan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. See, I chose this prayer because there's so much we need to learn from this prayer. Okay, so Brahma says, I'm reading the translation. He says, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Okay, first Brahma offers how wonderful Krishna is, and then Brahma is speaking so much of philosophy here. He says, for a devotee who actually patiently accepts the sufferings, because the devotee understands that everything is nothing but the arrangement of the Lord. So without any complaint, when one actually accepts the sufferings, okay, so he becomes eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Okay, there's a wonderful explanation. I particularly choose this shloka to explain that many times we see that devotees also keep suffering, but devotees don't really complain. So it may look like they are actually the sufferings for their past mistakes, but it is not that. This is a very wonderful point. Maybe someday we could discuss this verse in detail. So here it is said that just like a son, okay, he need not wait or he need not claim his father's property. Rightfully, the father's property is acquired by the son, though he doesn't do anything. Just like that, the devotees who patiently bear without any complaint, who just accept all the sufferings as the arrangement of the Lord, liberation just becomes their rightful claim. It comes in one more verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam where it says that liberation just, it just holds its arms and waits for the devotee to bestow upon him. So the devotee doesn't really aspire for liberation. So what does the devotee aim for then? What does the devotee wish for? He just wishes to constantly associate with the devotees of the Lord, and the devotee doesn't aspire for anything else. He just constantly wants to keep the Lord's pastime in his memory. We see that in the wonderful Damodar Lila prayers also. Satyavrata Muni says, I don't want anything. I just want this beautiful Lila to be in my memory. So similarly, Brahma is also asking, my Lord, who is more fortunate than this Vrajvasis? I just want a birth here. Brahma is desiring for that. I just want some birth here, maybe as a tree, as a calf, as an animal, or as something in this beautiful Vraja, so that I get the dust of this Vrajvasis. So such is the glory of the Vrajvasis here. So Brahma is glorifying. He understands how fortunate these Vrajvasis are with their, because especially he talks about this topic because he was bewildered seeing Krishna behaving friendly and so lovingly. He was bewildered. So now he understands that that is the highest perfection of devotion. So in Padyavali, there is one beautiful verse I would like to read out here. It says, Shrutima pare smritimitare Bharatamanye bhajantu bhavabhitaha. Bhajantu bhavabhitaha. If anybody is fearful of material existence, let them all read Shruti, the Vedas, or let them read Smriti, the Puranas, or let them read the Mahabharata. To come out of this, usually people take shelter of the Shruti, Smriti, or Mahabharata to get protected from this material existence. But here the Acharya is saying, Ahamiha Nandam Vande Yasya Linde Param Brahma. I will worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard the supreme Parabrahman is crawling like a small baby. Okay? So that is exactly the mood of Brahma now. So he says, so see, from Brahma came all the Vedas, right? He was the first being to whom the Lord imparted the Vedas. So he put aside all that Vedic knowledge he has, and he says, let me just become a particular, some jiva in this Brajabhumi, so that I get the dust of this lotus feet. Okay, so like that, there are so many wonderful prayers which Brahma offers. Maybe we'll need more session to discuss the Brahmadeva prayers. Okay, so finally he says, my mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. So these Brajvasis have got the highest reward anybody can think of, because they got you. So that is the highest benediction, and I also aspire for this and nothing else. And of course, he offers so many things. He says, for Putana, you gave such a wonderful, you offered yourself to Putana. So what have you got to offer yourself to these Rajvasis? So like that, he glorifies the Lord so much. So finally, he says, my Lord, you please give me permission to leave to go back and continue my duties, and with a loving service to you. So that is the wonderful prayer which Brahma offers. Okay. Actually, 45 minutes is too short for the Brahma Vimohana Lila. Okay. Anyway, so I have few, what do you call, takeaway points or whatever it is. So the first thing I would like to say is about how Krishna personally takes care of our senses being dragged away by Maya. And this happens when our deeds are actually pleasing Krishna. So here when for a devotee, when he's totally engaged in Krishna, by some arrangement or by some bewilderment happens, Krishna personally takes care. He tells in Bhagavad Gita also. He tells, what is that shloka? Api chet su duracharo. Even if he performs the most abominable act, he is to be treated, because Krishna personally takes care, and because of Krishna's arrangement, very quickly one comes back established in the devotional service. And who is Brahma here? Brahma is also the dear son of the Lord. So when Brahma got bewildered, Krishna checks him. Krishna he has put Brahma back into the devotional service through a very loving pastime. Okay. And the other thing is, one cannot really imitate the Lord. Okay. So usually we all have this controlling mentality. If you take the demigods, they're also controllers. They're better controllers than us, right? So they have both serving nature and the controlling nature. The demons have only the controlling nature, and the devotees have only serving nature. So these demigods are in between the demons and the pure devotees. So they have both the controlling nature as well as the serving nature. So they are dear to the Lord because they have the serving nature. So whenever they cross their controlling nature, like, Krishna checked Indra, Krishna checked, Krishna just helps them and puts them back into their service attitude. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to say is, yeah, the other takeaway point is actually the 58th verse in the chapter, which says that for those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoof print. Their goal is Parampadam Vaikuntha, not the place where there is danger at episode. You would have heard this shloka, right? A very, very famous verse. It says, Bhavambuder Vatsa Padam Parampadam, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam Natesham. This material world, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam. Prabhupada makes this quote many times. Every step there is a material danger. Because this is actually an ocean. Every step in the ocean, ocean is so deep. Even if you get some support, you want to keep the next step, again it is full deep. So everywhere there is a danger. But when one takes the shelter of the Supreme Lord, that boat is a very mysterious boat where the ocean shrinks into the size of a calf's hoof print. So one can very easily cross the calf's hoof print. He doesn't have to put the leg into that ocean. He can easily cross over the material ocean. This is a very brief description of the Brahma vimohana and Lila. Okay. Anything else you would like to add or ask? I would love to hear from you.
Hare Krishna. Such a lovely session. So nice pastime. Hearing from you with life lessons and how to practically check ourselves for all these anarthas. So it is very nicely explained, Mataji. Thank you very much. And anybody has anything to say, comments or any question, you can ask now. Okay. We're getting feedbacks. It's really lovely.
Very nice. I thank all of you for patiently bearing so much of time. Okay, you all have, my advice would be all of you please take Srimad Bhagavatam and read this episode verse by verse. There's no verse can be skipped actually. And you should read these verses with the help of Prabhupada's purpose. And you will really relish so much. So much is there. Actually, I read this episode long back. So to speak, I was reading and then I thought, my God, how will I do this in 45 minutes? Because, you can really discuss this episode for a long, long hours. Each verse, Prabhupada has explained so wonderfully. You should read the purpose, and with the help of the purpose, you'll be able to really relish more and more. Because Prabhupada is such a pure devotee. He has put all his heart in writing the purpose of 10th canto. So one should definitely read Prabhupada purpose and understand this episode in more depth. Thank you. Thank you, Nitya. Wonderful and all the yeah.
Lalita is asking what happens after this Lila. If you can little bit touch upon Agasur, that part, like.
Oh yeah, after this Leela, what happens is the boys actually they have grown 1 year older. They were 5-year-old, but now they are 6-year-old. They don't realize that. Okay, but they just go home, jumping, and on the way Krishna shows them. See, the skin of Aghasura, it has already dried up. And here also I would like to say, actually, before killing of Aghasur, when Aghasur actually opened his mouth as a cave, okay, all the boys mistook it to be a cave, right? So some of the boys were wondering, oh, is this really a mountain or a cave? We should go and play in this. How nice it would be if we can really get onto that and jump. So all these small desires also Krishna took care. So this 1 year, what happened? The Aghasura mouth really it had dried up and it had become like a real cave and a mountain. And all the Gopas, they would actually every day go and get onto that and jump and dance. And when they all came back and they explained this particular Leela to their parents in a very jolly mood.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so yes, we're getting comments like wonderful session. We could not believe the time passed so quickly. Just
Actually,
like
you have 2 things. I can, yeah, 2 minutes, right? I just have some
yes.
4 or 5 pictures. You can just see them here. You all would have seen these episodes. See Krishna sharing lunch. Brahma is coming in his swan carrier. Okay, everybody is trying to offer Krishna from their lunch boxes. Even the arrangement is such that, see, Krishna is in the center, and from every angle the Gopas could see Krishna. Everybody felt that Krishna was sitting right in front of him. Okay, that was the wonderful arrangement that happened. And this is when Krishna expands him. He shows Brahma that everything is him only. Okay, these are the original Vishnu forms. Okay, and Brahma is really ashamed. You can see wonderful expressions, wonderful paintings under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so it doesn't need any explanation. You could really see those feelings in Lord Brahma. And this is from the little Krishna. And this is the cows and the Gopas running from top of the hill. So Balram is actually asking. So Balram identifies first. So what exactly is happening? These are the few pictures which I wanted to share. So, okay then. So have a very wonderful Krishna conscious life, services, and may all of us serve Guru and Gauranga. Okay. All glories to the devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.